Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Session 4, a place where people dine. What the students will learn today is the role of an entrepreneur by starting the process of opening their own business, which will be a restaurant. For today's session, you will need the recipes business plan, the sheets of play money, which may be beneficial to separate if you have time, the recipes payment sheet, the key term flashcards for the session, and finally, the sheet of heart stickers. This activity will take the entire time. Make sure you emphasize to the students that they need to listen to each step. We're going to have steps 1 through 8, and they will be in groups throughout those steps. So there needs to be minimal talking, so you and the teacher should come up with a signal, the classroom signal, for quiet, because there is a good chance that they will be talking within their groups, and you need to continue to explain steps 1 through 8. The first thing step 1 outlines is to name the manager and the accountant. I want to reference our JASD teaching tips. These are certain things along the way, we've outlined them step by step, to make the process a little simpler for you as a volunteer. To decrease the student favoritism or potential conflict for people within the groups, since there would only be 2 people doing the roles of a manager and an accountant, some people might feel left out. So go ahead and use, a method like the birthday closest to that particular date, the 2 closest birthdays, and then they can figure it out in an amicable way. Step 2 is to earn the money to open their business. Each group will need at least $300. In the guidebook, it says that you can start with the $200. As teaching tips from JASD, we've outlined that you can give each group $260 to begin with, because then there's less money for you to hand out during the activity. Step 3 is to discuss the business plan. Pass out the recipes business plan to each student so they can write on their own sheet. However, as a group, they will be making the decisions regarding the restaurant that they are starting. In order to distribute the extra money from step 2, you can go around and ask each group questions regarding their restaurant. Where is the best place for their restaurant to be housed, which goes back to the zones. The product, what type of food are they going to offer? The price, the people who will be working in the restaurant, the producers of the food for the consumers, and then the promotion, a logo or a brand. What is attracting the consumers to their particular restaurant? At that point, as a volunteer, feel free to show the class a logo or a brand from your particular organization. Step 4 is to give them the time to fill out the recipes for success business plan. Step 5 in the guidebook is to take the time and circulate around the room. The teacher can help distribute money to give the extra $40 to each group that they need to start their business with the total of the $300. Like I said earlier, you can ask them questions about their restaurant. In the guidebook, there are prompt questions regarding certain key terms that you've already discussed or things that you've already talked about in past sessions. At the end, everybody should end up with the $300. Step 6 is to pay the rent. This is where the jobs of the manager and the accountant will come into play. Ensure that all groups have a total of $300 so everyone is starting out on an even playing field at this point. Tell the students that during this particular step, you as the volunteer will be playing the role of the bank. Briefly explain from the recipes payment sheet what a deposit slip is. We just want to clarify that they understand why they would be filling out a deposit slip to bring to the bank. The manager is going to hand $100 of cash that they currently have to the accountant. The accountant will then fill out the circled information for the deposit slip of the $100 rent, and then the cash and the deposit slip will both go to you, the bank. Step 7 is to pay the utility bill. With this, we will be using the check from the recipe payment sheet. Emphasize that in order to pay or to write a check, you need to have the money in your bank account. So to demonstrate this, make sure that along with the check, you are getting the $40 in cash. So the manager is giving the accountant $40, and then the accountant is filling out the utility check. And for this one, since you played the role of a bank, the teacher can play the role of the utility company. So once the check is filled out with the $40 cash, the student can deliver both items to the teacher, pretending that that money is now at the utility company. In step 8, each group will buy restaurant supplies. At this point, each group should have $160 remaining, which the managers should have. No matter what payment option the students use to buy $100 worth of restaurant supplies to get their company moving along, re-emphasize the fact that along with a credit card or a debit card, you need the $100 in cash to go along with it. It needs to be in their bank account for the debit card, or it needs to be paid at the end of the month with the credit card. As a class, you can also discuss what you would do with the remaining $60 as the entrepreneur or the restaurant owner. Step 9 then is to open the business. At this point, you're the consumer. You would love to go in and be the consumer and eat at each one of the group's restaurants. Hand out a heart sticker for each one as a congratulations that their business is now open. There will be $60 in the play money remaining, so let the students know that they can keep one sheet to share amongst the class. Make sure everybody has one sheet of play money, and oftentimes they like to use it as a bookmark or just to bring home for play money. Take time for summary and review at the end. Make sure you go over the key terms that you discussed within this session. Point out that the different restaurants could be placed within different zones in the city. And if you have time at the end, make a personal story out of it. And have you worked in a restaurant? Have you worked in a service business? And kind of explain what it's like to be on the other end of a restaurant. Hope you enjoyed session 4.